Today, we geek out about Fetch Quest. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lee from Geek City USA here, and today we are going to talk about a game called Fetch Quest. Now, Fetch Quest takes place in the realm of Pugmire, and it is a deck building game for 3 to 6 players. So we're going to take you over here, I'm going to show you how it plays, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts on the game. Alright guys, this is Fetch Quest. So this is a prototype copy of the game, and I do know that there have been some minor changes. For example, for the prototype here, there's the health listed in the lower right hand corner. However, in the version I think that's going to be final, there's a actual health tracker on the side of the card here, as well as some of the layouts of the cards have changed. I think this is going to be sideways as well. Now in Fetch Quest, you are going to have pioneers. So in this case, I've set up for a 3-player game, and you will be facing challenges as well as you will have missions. Now, if I show you here, there will be something that you have to do to defeat the mission. And then once you defeat the mission, you have another one after that. So in this case, let me see, card B, here's the second mission. And then each mission after the first one is going to have additional cards that you will shuffle into the challenge deck. And that'll kind of ramp up the difficulty level as the game goes. Now to start off, you're going to want to build each Pioneer's starting deck. So if you look here, these symbols indicate what starting cards that each player will need. So in this case, 1 mind card, 2 skill cards, and 3 war cards. So you can look at the basic cards and take 1 mind, 2 skill, and 3 war. And then this will build Spike Mutt's deck. And then you would just shuffle this together, and that would be Spike Mutt's starting hand. And then you go ahead and you can do this with the other 2. Okay, so now that we've set those up, we can get rid of these basic skill cards and remove them from the game. These are only used for the starting decks. Now, as you take your turn, you're going to want to either defeat the challenges or defeat the mission. And to do so, you'll take a look here, and there'll be a defeat condition. So in this case, defeat any 3 and danger 1. And what that means is you just need to have any 3 symbols. In this case, see these different symbols here, whether they're skill or mind or war. You would just need any 3 and you can play it, and when you play it on it, you would be able to flip this card, and this card would be defeated. Now, at the end of a player's turn, these cards all shift down, and the bottom card, if it is left face up, it will activate. And in this case, with a danger 1, the current player would take 1 damage. So now we can take on the Pioneer's turn, and we'll start here with Spike Mutt. We'll see he has 1 mind, 2 skill, and 3 war. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to see if these cards are exhausted. So as the game goes on, if you if you take enough health damage that you die, your card is flipped over and you're exhausted. And if you're exhausted, the only thing that you can do is whatever skill you have listed here. So in this case, Spike Mutt is not exhausted, so we can go ahead and continue his turn. So now what we'll do is we'll just make sure this deck is shuffled again, and we can draw 4 cards. You always want to have 4 cards in your hand, so if you only have 2 or 3 cards in your hand, you will draw up to 4. And at this point, you can look at your hand and compare it to what challenges you have on the board, but you can't tell your partners that, okay, I have 3 war and 1 mind, and work together that way. But you can say, you know what, I think I'll be able to take out, the Demon Hound here, which with what he has in his hand, he can't. But you can say, I think I got that one under control. But you can't outright say, this is what I have in my hand. So again, we'll look here at Spike Mutt, and he has 3 war and 1 mind. And what we have on the board right now that he can defeat is, we have right here, the Cat Bandit has a defeat any 3, as does the Badger Bandit, has a defeat with any 3, and so does the Rat Bandit. However, we really want to get rid of this one because we want this one to not hurt us as the time goes on. So what we'll do, Spike Mutt is going to take these cards. He can play any 3, and we will play these 3 war cards, and we'll play it on the Cat Bandit. So this is actually going to defeat this challenge. We can put this card back. It's in Spike Mutt's hand right now. And now after you defeat a challenge, you can do one of 4 different things. You can select a fortune card here, and what these are, you're going to build your deck, so they're more powerful cards. And you would add this to your hand, or you can draw a fortune card off of the top of the deck. Another thing you can do is perform the action that's here on your card. So in this case, discard a card to take one challenge out of the queue and put it at the bottom of the challenge deck. Draw a new challenge card to replace it in the queue. And now maybe that's a good thing that this guy wants to do. And then your fourth thing that you could do is you could take any number of cards that are in your hand and give it to another player. But what I think we want to do here is Spike Mud is going to look here and he wants to get rid of, he's going to want to get rid of a challenge. Because if we look here, this one has a defeat of 4 mine. Now we're not going to be able to do that. So this is going to do 3 damage to somebody. So we're going to take this out. We're going to use Spike's skill. We'll put this at the bottom of the challenge deck. And we can draw a card to replace it, which look at that. That worked out well. Dog Bandit, defeat any 3. So that works out for us. You'll put that there. And these cards go into Spike Mutt's discard pile. And we'll keep this here. This is actually his active hand, so we'll just keep that like that. So now we have the enemy turn. And first thing you're going to do is see if you defeated the mission. Well, we didn't defeat the mission. We defeated a challenge. So we continue on there. And that's when the challenge on the bottom of queue will activate. So in this case, this one is just going to drop off. These will all slide down. And we will draw a new one. And in this case, we draw a possessed cat, which defeat any 4, danger 2, tag unseen. And then we can go on to player 2, Sergeant Leo Bulldog. See, now the reason I picked these cards, there's definitely a rhyme and reason. So Spike Mutt is kind of like, he's a key staple in the game. He's typically the one that will go first. And then I picked Sergeant Leo Bulldog because my name is Lee and I have a bulldog at home, so that's kind of fitting. And I picked Princess Yosha Pug because my kids love pugs thanks to Dan TDM. So typically when we play, these are fairly common cards that are picked. These 2 are usually the first 2 that get picked out of the Pioneer cards. Little extra information for you. So Sergeant Leo Bulldog will shuffle up here and we'll take 4 cards to draw up his hand. And we have, what do we have here? A skill card, 2 mines, and a war. And we'll look here, and we could defeat the Dog Bandit with any 3. We could defeat this guy with 3 of the mined. But what we're going to do is we're just going to look here. We're going to defeat the Dog Bandit because we want to try not to take any damage. So I can discard any 3. So I'll just say we'll discard these 3 here. This is his hand. I'll just leave that there. And this is going to take care of that challenge. And these cards can go into his discard pile. And now, because I did that, I can either pick a fortune card, I can draw from the deck, I can use his power, which is, in this case, discard a card to take 1 fortune card from any Pioneer's deck, including your own. Or I can give the cards in my hand over to any number of those cards to one of my partners. But what I'm going to do as Sergeant Leo Bulldog is I'm going to take this fortune card, provides 3 skill resources, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in my hand. So now I know come the next turn, I will have 4 resources and we'll get to draw up 2 more. So put that there. And then you immediately fill this hole. And then the enemies are going to activate. You slide all these guys down. And you fill in at the top. Now let's just say that we're later in the game and it's Princess Yosha Pug's turn. And this is what Princess Yosha Pug has in her hand. Now if we look here, we'll see here some of these cards have tags on them. In this case, tag Mysticism. And if you look at Princess Yosha Pug, there's a tag of Mysticism. So this means if you look at this card, for anybody else, this would just provide 2 mind resources. But if your character has the Mysticism tag, you can provide 1 additional resource. So this is actually worth 3. So let's say this is my hand. And I'm going to take these 6 resources here, because this is worth 3 and that's worth 3, and I can actually defeat this mission. So seek out the ruin. Play any 6 resources on your turn. We have done that. So I'll just set that there for right now, and I will put her hand just on top here. Now let's say because Yosha Pug defeated the mission, we can draw a card, so I'll just draw one off the top, just for the sake of the video here. And now when we have the enemy turn, the first thing we're going to do is see if the mission is defeated. In this case, it has been defeated. So when the mission is defeated, you're going to move on to the rest phase. Now when you rest, if anybody is exhausted, so if they're face down, you can actually flip them back over and their health goes back to 1. So they have 1 stamina at that point. You can also discard as many cards from your hand as you wish, which as the game goes on, this is important because if you have a couple of these weaker cards in your hand, you can discard them to get the stronger and better cards to be in your hand at the time. You then draw up to 4 cards, each player. The fortune pile here is all shuffled back into the fortune deck. So you refresh all of this, and then you would reset this all out. So 4 new fortune cards would be out. We'll give this back to Yosha. You discard the existing mission card. So now we'll go ahead and take the next mission card. So in this case, Disconcerting Illusion, which is defeat 5 mind, danger 3. Pioneer to your left must discard their hand and draw 3 cards. So we will go ahead and set this mission down. Now there's going to be other cards that, in this prototype, they're marked B here, so they match. And these are going to be new challenge cards that are going to get shuffled into the deck, and you see they're a little bit stronger than the ones before. So you'll take these new challenges and all the old challenges, including the ones that you have defeated, and you will shuffle all of them together. And then you will create a new challenge stack of challenges here. And then play will continue with the next player. So in this case, if Princess Yosha was the one that defeated Mission 1, we'll start with Spike Mutt here. And we would go and we would look, and Spike Mutt, well actually at this point, would have 4 cards in his hand, so he would have shuffled this up. And we would be ready to go to continue on. And then you'll go ahead and continue until you've defeated all the missions. And if you can make it all the way through and defeat the very last mission, in this case play until the fortune deck is empty, then you have won the game. And that is a high-level overview on how to play Fetch Quest. Now we'll take you back up top and I'll give you my thoughts on the game.
All right, guys, that was Fetch Quest. So let's talk about the components of the game. Now, this was a prototype copy of the game, so there are going to be some changes. I know some of the layouts on the cards that I had are different than what the production game is probably going to be. However, overall, the art on the game looked fantastic. It was a cool fantasy theme. Absolutely loved the dog art and the animal art. I know my kids loved it as well, the pugs, the bulldogs, and based on the art was definitely a win with us. So let's talk about the gameplay of the game. So this being a deck building game, you're starting off with a weaker deck and you're building it as the game goes on. However, there are a few unique mechanics to this game. I thought it was definitely cool the way as you defeated missions, you cleared the treasure board as well as you cleared all your challenges and you built up the challenge deck. I thought that was neat that the challenges got more difficult as the game goes on, or really just kind of progresses with you as you're getting stronger. And I also like the fact that you could wipe the deck of your treasures and your upgrades, because it was kind of nice to have that ever changing. I also appreciated the fact that as a deck builder, at the end of your turn, you could hand your leftover cards if you wanted to over to your neighbor. And that was definitely a cool little mechanic there that kind of helped move the game along, especially if you had some difficult enemies that you were facing in the challenge row. You could give the person next to you some cards to maybe beef them up a little bit so they could do a little bit more damage there and help you out. So let's talk about the audience of this game. Now, this is a game that if you enjoy deck builders, obviously it's going to appeal to you, but this also will definitely be appeal to families. This is a game that I was able to enjoy with my family because the theme is light, it's cute, the mechanics are easy. It was something that I was able to get to the table with my kids and my wife, and this is also something that I think you could get to the table with non-gamers, as there aren't a lot of heavy mechanics. It's not confusing, everything flows very well, and based on that, I think it's something that will really cross the spectrum of gamers, from casual gamers or non-gamers and families all the way up to people who are looking for some strategy, because it's a deck builder and you have to work your way through the challenge deck, and it's just a fun, well-flowing game overall. Now onto the replayability factor of the game. Now this is a game that you could definitely play over and over again because the challenges are going to be different. You could pick different pioneers. So based upon that, I definitely think you could see replay on this. And the games aren't too terribly long. They'll run maybe 45 to 90 minutes, was usually our average, really falling right about the hour mark. But it was something that didn't feel overtly long, so it was something that we've been able to get to the table a number of times. So all in all, we have really enjoyed this game. Obviously, family dynamics are important to me, and I love any time that I can get to play a game with my family. And this is one that I was able to play with my friends and my family. Everybody was able to grasp it, and that alone, I enjoyed it. I really, really like the art and the theme. Again, I don't know anything about the Pugmire universe, but I really enjoyed it. I like the art, I like the characters. There seemed to be a good amount of lore built in, and we enjoyed it as a family. My buddies enjoyed it as well, and this was something that I think that if the art appeals to you, if the lore and the universe looks interesting to you, I would definitely check this game out, because as far as deck builders goes, this is one that I think is going to be more accessible to more people. So it's not going to sit to the side for when, for heavier friends that come over that are looking for a crazy strategic game. It's one that's fun that you can pull out and enjoy on a typical evening with all sorts of people. So we really enjoyed it, and I would check it out if that interests you. All right, guys, that's it. I'm Lee with Geek City USA. Thanks for hanging out with us. Definitely comment down below, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't already, and also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. I would love to get to interact with you guys. I love going back and forth with you and getting to know what you guys are into. So definitely drop by and say hey on one of the platforms. Outside of that, thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.